Morning.
What's up, Coach?
How you doing?
How are you?
Good. We have a great guest on today, Michael Deebs. When he arrives, we'll bring him
Big
on.
time.
Played football at Notre Dame, correct? And then went to American Heritage High School. I'm guessing that's where the original connection comes from. Played at Notre Dame football, and then shifted at the end of that after 3 years, I think, playing there. Went to Bethune-Cookman, played baseball, got drafted to the major leagues. I think White Sox, maybe. I could be wrong, but played in minor league system, and now is a star for the Savannah Bananas.
Yeah, he is, man.
One of the maybe the fastest growing sports franchise in the country, and not just it's kind of the best way to explain it for people who don't know. It's like the Globetrotters of baseball. But it's entertaining. If you ever watch any clips on YouTube, entertaining, fun baseball, and they sell out everywhere they go. Out of Savannah, Georgia.
People have been talking about it for years, right? Like, how do you get the youth more interested in baseball itself, right? Because in all honesty, like with today and how, kids are being raised and all that stuff, everything is immediate, right? Like everything is right now. Baseball is kind of not like that, right? It's a little bit more of a patient kind of game. So for years, they've been looking to how do we speed up this game? How do we speed up this game? And I just think that what they do with the Savannah Bananas is it's just a way. It's like you said, it's entertainment through baseball, right? I guess you could compare it to kind of, now I don't know if things are scripted. I mean, obviously, some of it is, but like the competition aspect of it, right? Like, but I think it's like, it's more like almost like a professional wrestling type of atmosphere, right? Where, it's just, they do things within the game that's extremely entertaining.
Well, let's bring Michael on right now. He's here.
Here we go. Oh my God! Look at this guy. What's up, stud?
What's going on, guys? How we doing?
No, man. Really appreciate you coming on. I know you got a lot going on, but to take the time out, I really appreciate it, buddy.
Of course, no problem.
Well, the good thing is
sunny South Florida.
Yeah,
you bring some good looks to the you bring like good looks to the podcast. You know what I mean? So that's
boy.
You got some good looks going on here. Maybe we get some lady fans after this. So
you're gonna help us hit on a totally different demographic, brother.
There we go. There we go.
South Florida boy. That's what it is.
We were talking. We gave a little intro on the Savannah Bananas, but I thought was really interesting. Obviously, you were big time recruit out of high school in football, and went to Notre Dame, played football there, and then shifted back to baseball and got drafted and went and played professional baseball in major leagues for a little while, and then shifted over to Savannah Bananas, which we talked about. It's so intriguing, like the fan base you guys have, and the amount of people that come out, and your owner is very colorful, and he's dressed in the all yellow every time.
Yellow tux,
Yep. Brilliant business mind, obviously. And so tell a little bit like how you landed there and kind of a little bit of your journey.
Yeah. So went to American Heritage and Plantation. Like you said, it was recruited football out of high school. I had an elbow injury that was keeping me from two-way in college. And then ultimately that elbow injury ended my collegiate football career after my fourth concussion, and I moved on. By getting the surgery on my elbow, I was cleared to play baseball again, wanted to get back on the baseball field. So that put a lot of time, a lot of effort, a lot of shifting the physical build of my body and kind of how I was preparing on a daily basis. And then ultimately, after I was signed with the White Sox for a while, played a couple years of indie ball following that. And the Savannah Bananas were doing this. They were doing like a 6-game world tour. Their first trial and error with this banana ball stuff. And my friend Louis Guillorme, who plays for the Mets and now he's a free agent, he had went through the Savannah Sand Gnats. He was the last He was on the last Sand Gnats team when they played at a Grayson Stadium where the Bananas would play their CPBL, their collegiate season when they were playing normal 9-inning baseball. And he followed them on social media and saw it and sent this to me and was like, dude, you should go do this. It was the month before my independent ball season had started. And I was like, shoot, I can go play some games, get some live at bats before my season starts. And I was just training and coaching youth teams throughout that off season. So I was like, okay, there's nothing really restricting me from doing this. Let me go see what it's about. And ultimately led me to go out there and do that for the first time. And from that year until what it's become, and being the third go around that I had done it this past season, the growth is incredible. The talent increase on the baseball side is incredible. And ultimately everything they do, it's very different. But it's a lot of energy. It's a lot of enthusiasm. There's a lot of talented people and a lot of just high caliber athletes. Whichever way, whether you prefer normal baseball over it or say it's not real or whatever it is, like, I think there's no denial that if you do go to a game, you're going to see a lot of athleticism on display in a lot of different ways. And definitely this past season and what's to come in 2024, that just a high caliber of really talented baseball players that have a lot of baseball experience. And so I think it's just improving the product big time.
Awesome.
It's such an incredible concept. And I've showed my son, he's 8 years old, the game, like some of the games, and then how like the fun part about it all, like making baseball a lot more fun. And how what's the team that you're like like your version of the Washington Generals is
the Party Animals.
The Party Animals.
They've added this year the Firefighters.
Oh, wow.
The Visitors, and ultimately they're going to continue adding teams up into a league and kind of evolve this thing as it goes.
Build the market, right? Build the market.
Yep. But through last season, it was just us, the Party Animals, and then we would play Challenger Series against, random minor league teams that are in agreement to play us in exhibition games.
Awesome.
That's really, really cool. That's really cool. Now, how many game season you guys play like in a year, and how does that work?
So last season was 80.
Wow.
Damn.
87, 89.
Damn,
so
bro.
Still a pretty lengthy season.
Stretch.
Yeah. A little bit less than I was playing in minor league ball, but in terms of what is included on a day-to-day basis in the scheduling, probably twice as much in terms of time commitment and just preparation, because there's so much on the entertainment side, and the pregame and the VIP, which they call VIB experience. The days just start a lot earlier and go a lot later, but
because I would assume that you guys need to like you need to choreograph things. You need to kind of understand, hey, we're going to be doing this in this inning. It's not just, hey, we're going to show up, take some BP, play some, hit the ball around a little bit, get some infield practice, and then we're on. So I would assume that your time frame has to now be, all right, here we got to prep for the entertainment side. Okay, now you guys can go and do your baseball stuff. And like you said, if you're adding higher talented baseball guy, they're going to want to get that baseball side to it, right? And then so I would absolutely, you're definitely doubling down on your time commitment. For sure. I think I would compare it to offensive coordinator has like a color coded script or sheet that they're going to take out into the game with them. We have that same thing in terms of how everything's broken down from the time we're going to arrive to the stadium up until game time, and then up until the special plugged in entertainment pieces throughout the game are also color coded and with the times next to them, so that everything is on pace and you're not feeling sped up or surprised by anything. Obviously the game itself is going to be just pure competition, how it lays, but if we're going to bring in a special character, for example, stilts, or
if Matt Wolf, the rodeo clown, is going to come in and pitch, and you're going to see some of the trickery that he brings. It's going to kind of be scheduled in at a time that the guys are going to know. But definitely, yeah, you're definitely going to still get all your BP, your reads, your ground balls. Pitchers are going to throw their bullpens, do all the normal day-to-day stuff. But then there's also going to be a few hours of that, just basically mapping out the stadium, what our march is going to look like, because we go out and greet fans at when we open the gates to the stadium. So like where we're going to be walking for that, how we're going to do our initial "Hey Baby" dance.
I love it.
Yeah, it's really it's professionally run, it's organized,
right?
And I think that's what makes it so much fun, because it can kind of come off to the viewer as like this controlled chaos, which I think a little bit of it is naturally that. But
that's what it is, really, right? That's what any sport really kind of is.
Exactly. But there's the same preparation and organization that goes into any professional or collegiate at a high level sport, even at the high school level, obviously, and good programs and the way they run things. So it's not something that, if you've been a part of a good programs in the past or been in professional baseball, you can definitely adapt and adjust to the culture, as long as you're open-minded to get a little uncomfortable at times and do things you may have never done before.
And every single game is a sellout, right? Even your road games are sellouts, right? When you guys go on your tour, because I remember trying to get tickets to a game when a kid, and it was sold out. Like as soon as I was like, "Whoa!" And so I think that's incredible. Like contrary to like Major League Baseball, where it's not always a sellout, right? Obviously, big games are going to have playoff games are different, but the regular season game, your regular season games are so highly attended, and everybody's into it. Everybody's into it. They're not just like in a pro baseball game sitting there relaxing, and the people are into it. The kids are into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's a true experience, and that's why I said like it's like when I was a kid, the Globetrotters are not like this anymore. But when I was a kid, the Globetrotters, and we're going way back, so I'm a little bit older, right? When I was a kid, the Globetrotters you would go to, and it was packed, right? It was packed, and it was a show, and they went around. And now it's gotten like a little stale, like as far as how they did. What I love is how you guys are evolving it, like adding more teams. Like those are things that the Globetrotters never did, right? And adding different teams to play against, and then the breakout dances and all those kind of things are just, it's so innovative and entertaining that then all of a sudden there's baseball. All of a sudden baseball goes right back to being played, and you're like that like seesaw effect is like it just keeps you in it. Like you watch it, it just keeps you in it. That all of a sudden something breaks out that's entertaining. You if you go to take a second to go get something to eat, you might miss something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely something that there's stuff going on at all times, and I think it's definitely been great because it's opened the person who's not necessarily interested in baseball. Well, there's something for them that they're going to be entertained by, and they're going to enjoy their time at the ballpark that evening, whether they give a crap about baseball or not. So that's definitely cool and definitely unique in terms of the conversations that I've had with some of the fans that aren't necessarily baseball fans, because up until this point in my life, most fans that I've met at my football games or baseball games have been really into the sport, where this brings people who haven't gone to the park before and are like, well, we just knew you guys danced, or we knew that you guys did this, or my kids are really into the cinematography type of stuff, and we love the content you guys produce. So they're interested in watching how they shoot all this, and so it's cool to get those people out at the park. And I think that there's definitely a for the true competitor and somebody whose life has been based on competition like mine has, it is definitely something that takes an open mind at times. But there's definitely something going on at all times. The fans are into it. The place is packed, and it's kind of bringing like a football energy to a baseball game that, outside of, like you said, playoff baseball, like, yeah, the people are into it and it's rowdy. But, you know, there wasn't a game this year that didn't have, you know, World Series type energy. And ultimately, obviously, we want to win. And we lost more games against the party and by one game. We lost more games to the party animals than we won this past season. But ultimately, there was no championship trophy or pay incentive for the champion. So competition for the first time in my life being on an athletic playing field was not the ultimate number one priority at all times. It's fans first. It's making them have a great experience. So
I wonder if that that change is kind of maybe has you fallen more in love with the sport that you did as a kid. You know what I mean? Like playing baseball as a kid. Yes, you wanted to win. Obviously, you're a competitor. You played as, you know, you were a pro baseball player and you played at Notre Dame. I mean, that's, you know, as good as athlete as there gets out there. But it brings you back in a sense that you're just playing, like you're having a great time. You're trying to win, but you're also having a great time, right? Like takes you back to like when you loved baseball for baseball, right? Like to play baseball, to be around the other guys, like to doing something
to just be in the dugout, the clubhouse, right? Like that pure baseball love of, you know, the Sandlot stuff we're talking about here, right? Like, and if there's one thing that I know about you from the time I met you way back in the heyday with Mike, is you're a true competitor no matter what it is, right? Like, I mean,
1000%.
You compete in, you know, football, baseball. I mean, it was all go, no breaks. It was like, this is how it's going to be. I'm going to Notre Dame. I'm going to be a starting linebacker, right? And just unfortunately, it didn't work out. But at the same time, almost like, hey, one negative brings about another positive, right? Like you get yourself right injury-wise. And now, hey, man, I was a hell of a baseball player. Let me get back into that. And just following your track from where you had been to now through that transition process, right? Like your ability to always want to compete, whether it's coming back from surgery, getting into the whole thing, fighting through, hey, I'm in the low level leagues now, but this is not where I'm going to stay. And then to ultimately come to something where you can combine your brain, because I know you're smart as hell when it comes to it. I mean, dude, you went to Notre Dame, for God's sakes, you got to be able to do something, right? I mean, and then the business savvy of it, marketing, where you can get you can fulfill both of those things through the game you love, man. I mean, that's just phenomenal.
Yeah, I'm grateful. It's something that I think I definitely finally it clicked for me last year when, you know, I think we had given up like 6 runs in 1 inning, and I mean we're getting handled for an inning, and I look over and these 3 little girls are with the family and they're sitting there dancing the whole time, and they're trying to play like dance tag with me between pitches to like they're doing a move and then they want me to copy them and they don't, and I just start laughing so hard because like internally like I'm cussing to
You're
myself.
like,
I'm losing.
Runs,
I'm blowing my, I'm like, what is freaking going on? And then I'm looking over there, they're having a blast. And then I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool because, you know, here's, you know, 3 little fans with their family that they're wearing our stuff and they love us and they could give 2 craps about us getting absolutely shelled for an inning while, you know, anything that my past has taught me would be like, we're in a tough hole right now and we need to dig our way out. Whereas, you know, you look around and you see how much joy is on the people's faces and how they're smiling and how they're expressing themselves and having a good time. And you start to see that there's purpose and value beyond just the pure wins and losses or successes and failures. And so that's definitely something cool and something that opened my mind in a different way because, like I said, there was never a time that we were losing at Notre Dame and our coaches were just like, hey, it's all good.
Yeah, like it's okay, man. Like it's all good. We're getting shelled by USC. It's cool.
Yeah. No, that's not the case. And same thing in baseball. Obviously, you know, if you're sitting there 0 for 3 with 3 Ks, you might be like, oh man, am I getting released tomorrow?
Yeah.
So it's definitely something that is super cool and definitely the first time I've been judged on performance, not purely on statistical and physical performance on the field.
Huge.
What the thing that I find also, which is amazing about it, is how you guys all have your own like
Yeah.
social media, like they're all influencers in their own way. Like you guys have your own influencer base, which in today's like, and I think that you guys do, and I'll probably obviously starts at the top, right, with the owner, but you guys do social media and like influencer kind of marketing in an amazing way that I don't think everybody wants to do it as well as you guys do it. You guys do it so well, and it comes across so positive, and it comes across as like obviously entertaining, but positive and engaging. Where people like they want to know who Michael Deebs is. They want to know who he is because they see how each one of you guys are, and it really is like it's amazing because you see so much out there in social media that's negative, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or that players just like don't handle it correctly, or but your group does such an amazing job. Is that like kind of part of the whole thing that you guys do, or is that just by accident? I mean,
No, it's definitely on purpose, and it's definitely something that they train as well. Like, I mean, they put a lot of effort into their media team, and they definitely allow us to be creative in our own way. But they definitely try to provide the resources to mentor us on how to get it done, on what plays
Mhm.
well, on where they would like us to kind of push. Ourselves and our brands. In no way is it controlling, but they still provide the guidance and
Right.
the team around us to help us execute that. And to be honest, that's probably been one of my weakest points because in the past I never really valued social media, and I thought it was this whole pull of just like, oh, look at me. So I really
That's
didn't
who
like
you are, though.
posting.
Like
Yeah,
that's who you've always
it's
been, bro. You've always been the under the radar guy. I don't need any spotlight. I'm just gonna do my job and let my performance speak for me. So when you previously stated that, like, hey, they're gonna put me the ability to be comfortable in uncomfortable situations, right? Because this is
yeah.
when listen. When I saw you were doing this, man, I reached out to Mike and was like, "Is he serious?" Like, because this is
Hmm.
not really who he is. Like, he is a very much all business. This is what we're doing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? And that's
Yeah.
that's your enjoyment of it. So to see you do this and then, like you said, talk about having to now put yourself in the spotlight a little bit, it's definitely something that's new for you. So to hear that they give you that guidance, that's amazing.
For sure. Yeah, I'm grateful for that. And I think definitely in allowing us to uh, just kind of push in our own arena. And that's kind of what like the stuff I want to promote and put out going forward in this season is going to be a lot more on like the coaching side of things, on how we execute trick plays, on what our preparation looks like. The valuable pieces for the kids that are at home and maybe saying like, hey, I want to do this one day, or there might be an avenue for me to get drafted or whatever it
Yeah.
is into this one day. So, how do I prepare for that? Then I kind of want to be more of a resource in that arena, because I'm not going to be the guy doing TikTok dances, and I'm not going to be the guy, out there, whipping my jersey around my head and doing things that might be flashy or some killer dance moves that are going to teach kids how to dance better. Not exactly me. So it's just something that, again, they give us the freedom and they give us the opportunity. They definitely push it and want us to be post, and they want us to be consistent out there. But in no way is it limiting us from being ourselves. And that's something that's powerful. And they've got a phenomenal platform for us to work within and just really grow our brands and kind of put ourselves out there in a positive light and let us, share a little bit about what we're about. And I think that's one of the biggest pieces that is yet to be exposed. Our shortstop, Ryan Cox, does a phenomenal job with it, with the trick play stuff and kind of how he executes those on his socials. But I think that's really what's made us have value in the game of banana ball is, practice can be monotonous, even at the professional level. You go out
Oh,
there, you do infield, outfield, or you're shagging fly balls. It's like you've done this stuff a million times. And ultimately, at that level, if you can't catch a fly ball, like you're not even existing. So the feeling like you're 12 again and, spending an hour in practice, taking machine fly balls way up in the sky and working to try to catch them behind your back or between your legs, or doing a round off or a backflip or bare hand or whatever trick you're trying to execute, it almost brings you back to being that little kid again, because you're trying to create a new skill out of something that you've done your entire life, but now are trying to do differently, and trying to figure out what cues are going to allow you to be successful in doing it consistently. So that's something that is definitely a lot of fun, and something that I think, a lot of the stuff that people know us, they're like, oh, I've seen you guys on social media doing your dances, or I've seen you doing, X, Y, or Z, but I think it would be really cool, and we'd win a lot more people that are still on the opposite side of the fence of us saying that it's not real, if they got to see some of how we prepare on a daily basis, and, how we execute high-level trick plays on balls that are hit, hard off the bat, and guys are throwing 92, 94, like bringing it, and guys are sitting there doing, tricks at the plate or whatever they may be doing, and are in some costume and still getting hits and still hitting 400 feet home runs and still, hitting balls 110 off the bat, 112 off the bat. So it's something that is pretty cool. And ultimately, I think now that with all the TrackMan technology and the stadiums that we're playing in the upcoming season, I really hope they kind of put a lot more of that out there, because I think that would validify what we do
the baseball
to the
side
crowd.
Of it, like, this is real baseball.
Right. And because that's what, again, like you say, you think, well, it's not really me, and it's not really, what my past has been. And I'd agree with that. But I also think that if there wasn't that portion of the high level and real athleticism, right, it would be something that ultimately, and just being honest, I don't think I would be open-minded enough to participate within. But as soon as you get to do those things at a high level, and these extra things that are just going to make kids that have a lot of fun and find interest in it and not want to take their eyes off it, I'm like, okay, I can get behind this. And not only can I get behind it, but now, because of, the platforms that they provide, well, now we have a direct connection to the next generation of young athletes. And I think that comes with a lot of responsibility to mentor and put stuff out there that is productive, positive, that, exemplifies hard work ethic, that exemplifies, competition and getting uncomfortable and fighting through things, because there's just a lot of, as things evolved, just a lot of softer and weaker and lack of mental and physical fortitude in not just sports, but all arenas. So why don't we take this opportunity to capture within this really entertaining product and still show that, like, being the hardest worker in the room, being somebody that's consistent, being somebody that fights through adversity, is still values that are the most important and top priority to really anything that you're chasing after or trying to achieve in life.
Well, I think it's also amazing how the willingness, like Derek said, used to step out of your comfort zone and do something that's so different, that I guarantee you a lot of baseball players would be like, man, I can't believe, guys are doing a backflip while they catch a ball. Like, I could never do that. I could never. The pictures, it's on your Twitter feed. Your Twitter feed, by the way, is great. And I think one of the things was the pictures like doing like a trick with a hockey stick, and then catches it and fires a strike in there, and then so it's I mean, it's so cool because you get to actually step out of your normal comfort zone and practice things that you probably always could possibly do. But obviously, if you did them in a game, your manager might come out and kill you, right?
Right.
So,
think about it. There's not many guys catching punts behind their back and saying, "Hey, let's go do this," right? Like, you could something like like Mahomes throwing a behind the back pass to the end zone. Like, that stuff ain't happening. You know what I'm saying? Now these guys can do it, but you don't do it. So this model, and listen, and the fact that it's only expanding and growing, and they're looking to grow the brand, right? And with the help of social media, like, now you guys can become like household names, and these guys are gonna be rooting for you, right? You're gonna have fans all over the place.
Vitamin Deeb.
That's it, man.
That's it, baby. That's it. It's so cool. So cool. It is how do contracts work for that? Is that a year-to-year deal, or is it like they sign you guys longer term?
Yeah, so a lot of us just signed our contracts recently. This year is going to be the first year that they're going to pay us throughout the 12 months.
Nice.
So it'll start in January and continue through January. And that's something that is, again, just something that is a constant. They're navigating new waters. You know, this originally was a team that played in the Coastal Plains Collegiate League and was not paying players. And how do you go about paying players? How do you value their worth? How do you do all these things? So it's definitely interesting because there's no players union, or there's really no back and forth arbitration. You know, players are out of it. You're kind of representing yourself, or whoever your agent is representing you, and you're trying to fight to get the best opportunity for yourself, and they're obviously going to set the parameters and expectations for you. So it's something that's definitely interesting, and especially given the amount of competition now that they're running tryouts, and they're constantly looking for better players to replace you. How are you going to maintain your worth? How are you going to continue to be different and kind of own your role and own your position? Right. It's every single business or organization or team is always drafting new players, always looking to improve, always looking to get better. So I think that with the coming, future for more teams, more opportunities to get more players involved, and ultimately grow the brand to the point that other players and more guys can look at it as something that they can make a living doing. It's only going to increase the product, and the talent level is going to raise. And obviously, them being very straightforward in that, like you said about Mahomes, where they're going to encourage that. They're going to encourage the backflip catch. They don't care if the bases are loaded or not. They're going to want to see the high level entertainment play executed in the moments that still competitively matter a lot. And that is definitely something different, something new. And as more guys are around, and as more players are brought in to compete, it's only going to amp up people trying new things, and people trying to do different things that haven't been done before. So it's definitely an exciting arena to operate within, and it's a diverse group. Some guys that are married, some guys that are single, fresh out of college, some guys that have long-term relationships, some guys that have other business endeavors, some guys that are just, fully all in on this and have moved themselves to Savannah permanently to really go all in. It's really cool. And I think ultimately it's just a really good culture of young professionals that get after it. And I think on the media side of things, that's what allows them to do so well is the age demographic is really prime for what social media has blown up within. Like the people around, that from, I'd say, college age through 35 are experience that social media explosion and the appearance of TikTok jumping on the scene and Instagram showing up, and companies no longer doing as many commercials, but now looking for influencers to do their commercials through Reels and TikToks and things like that. It's something that is definitely a shift, but the demographic and the people that they've got in place to produce this stuff are the right people and hardworking and have that same competitive mindset as us athletes of just getting that 1% better each day. So it really provides a good culture, I'd say. It's something that's really cool. Something that I felt when I was at Notre Dame and didn't really feel very cool being a football player, because so many of my classmates were doing things off the field in medicine or other arenas that I found so much more important than just entertainment through sports. So it's like you really are getting in a diverse experience and education in other arenas that in the past, like I didn't know people in the front office in my teams, or I mean, yeah, I knew them. I knew their name and say hi to them and walk past them in a hallway or something. But there wasn't a time I was ever really going to sit down, have lunch with them, or because our schedules were so busy, and it just wasn't something that's embraced. But this is something that we're traveling, 100 plus people on the road, all flying out to California to put on this show for four games or whatnot. And it's like, you're in the airports with these people, you're eating your meals with these people, you're in the hotels with these people. And so you're getting to see a whole different side and a whole encompassing view of how a business goes out and executes putting on a show in ways that, the players of the NFL team don't think at all about how the team's setting up their sound system when they do certain things, or how, at the Buccaneers Stadium in Tampa, the ship's going to go off when the Bucs score a touchdown or anything. Like, players aren't thinking about that. They're just getting ready.
They're not worried about running out of the tunnel and whose fireworks are going to blow.
They're like,
we got, so-and-so is holding the flag or singing the national anthem. Like, damn, you know what I mean? Like, it's not important.
It's not something that's even thought of because it's not within the job description, but this is the first time that you're getting to see that from a full view. So that's something that's definitely different and empowering and opening my mind in a lot of different ways, because I'm seeing things and learning things that I never even considered thinking of before.
I think it's so interesting too how unlike in most professional teams, you have a couple of guys that are like carry the star power, right? But on your team, everybody's going to have a favorite according to not just how you play, but also some signature things that you do, right? So one fan might have you as a favorite, another fan has somebody else as a favorite, and you all have your own kind of star power, which is, I think, totally unique to professional sports, because most professional franchises, Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, like those are our stars, right? Those are the people that we keep pushing out there. Those are the guys that we want to sell jerseys on, because that builds the overall Kansas City theme, or whoever it is, whatever team it is,
Right.
But the Savannah Bananas, like each one of the guys, and including even some of those party animal guys, like they all start to get their own like signature thing. Their the way they style the play is, what their signature moves are, their trick play is, and you have fans of each different thing, which I find is so, like, to me, it's so brilliant in a sense, not just from a sports model, but from a business model, in the sense that every person has someone that they are like, they want to see that day. There's a person that they want to see, and it may be you, it may be another guy, but they want to see that person play, and they're looking for that moment that they do that. It brings out to me more people. Like, more people want to come, because it's like, well, I like watching him, and I like watching him, and so on and so forth. And, I root for the party animals. They're the enemy. I root for them. I mean, like that, because everybody's personality is different. Some guys want to root for the quote unquote good guys. Some people want to root for the quote unquote bad guys. Right. And that's what makes it, I think makes it so unique. Do you see a lot of that in the stadium? Do you see like your core group of people that are there for you and stuff like that?
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head there. That's the truth, honestly. And a lot of the connection of my fanship or people that are following me have been a lot of people that maybe are also Notre Dame fans, or a lot of the kids, since I do a lot of youth baseball coaching in the off seasons, a lot of the kids that are into coaching, that are into the actual game of baseball and are like, oh, this is like a real live coach. This is a baseball guy that is like open to the crossover. Like, this is how I can get into this. And I would say, so for a lot of the older kids, the guys that are a little bit more serious in baseball, I feel like they tend to follow a little bit more, because, to them, the only thing they could think of right now is maybe playing Division I one day or getting drafted. There hasn't been there will be, but there hasn't been that like, oh, I can go one overall in the banana ball draft and be drafted to the so-and-so. Like, there hasn't been that yet. So to them, as much as they think it's cool, maybe they're not quite bought in on the level of, wow, like I really want to see, I really want to do this, because maybe they don't see a future in it. Where the younger kid, like I could tell you any kid that's under like 7, 8, like 8 years old under, like they don't care about any of us. They want to see stilts. They're purely because at that age, like they're not even thinking, they don't know the difference in like how good a player is or not, or how well he's performing or not.
Right.
Like
They
none
just
of
want
that
to see
matters to them.
entertainment.
They want to see the guy that's 11 feet tall on stilts because it's like, this is like more than life, you know, it's not real life to them. It's like, holy crap, there's a human out here on the field with these guys that's double the height of everybody else. Like, where's that guy? And he's the easiest one to see when he's walking around. So it's funny because you can see how the different age demographics and who's kind of into what. And ultimately, since the games aren't scripted, like, you know, the Globetrotters, where it's tougher to be a Washington Generals fan because, you know, they're going to end up finding a way to lose. You know,
Right.
like I said,
you guys lost games. So, I mean, it is what it is, right?
We lost. So ultimately, which is frustrating on my end, but
yeah, this has got to be driving you crazy.
Yeah,
I know how much you hate losing.
We lost one more game than we won against the Party Animals throughout the last tour. So ultimately, I think we did lose a lot of fans in that way because teams that in the past, the Bananas fanship, as incredible as the social media and everything has done and building it up, they won, and they always won, and they won back-to-back CPBL championships. And as entertaining as they were, it was the constant winning that I think just the backbone of like American culture and driving force of like people who they want to identify with and ride behind are winners. So the fact that we weren't that, I think it was huge for the Party Animals brand because they gained so many more fans that maybe like stopped thinking of it as this, like, you know, the hero and the villain. And maybe they were just like, actually, they kind of got these Miami Vice colors and like their color scheme's kind of cool. And, oh, they got a little monkey on the jersey. It's kind of cool. Like, and they win some games.
Cut off
and,
sleeves.
You know, they got cut off sleeves. So like now it's like, they're like, hey, I could rock with this. And these guys are good too. So,
right, which is a happy balance. So now it gives you guys a point, right, to kind of like, all right, now let's also we get these fans back, or maybe we get another one, right? Or now you're gonna have
100%.
some other teams sprinkled into the mix, right? And then it's kind of gonna just like, I just think it's gonna grow. I mean, look, I could watch it all day. I mean, like I said, I mean, I think the fact that the continuous search for new talent, better talent, kind of just follows right in suit with I mean, look, I'm recruiting the best linebacker. I just got you, but I'm still recruiting the guy behind you for the next class. I want a guy to come and replace you who's better. So that will only continue to drive you, push you on all ends of it, right? Because you might be the best baseball player out there, but if you can't market yourself, bro, or do something of that nature that adds eyes to saying, I want Michael Deeb, right? Or that's my guy, or like you got to have both sides of it, which is, I just think it's a challenge, but that's what you're about, right? Like you embrace those challenges to, 100%. Hey, I'm not only going to be the best baseball player, but I'm also going to have kids come into this where half of that section right there is here for me, right? Like I'll have my baseball kids that want to see me play real baseball, but then I'll have the 3 girls that want to do a shadow dance with me.
Mm-hmm. No, it's definitely something that is unique in how you have to market yourself and how you're going to grow your brand. But exactly what you said, like I wouldn't want it any other way. It's you're only going to get better when people are around you are always looking for something better, and you give them every reason in the world to see why they can't find it. Like that's how the greatest people end up separating themselves from the rest. You know, like all these great, like Michael Jordan, LeBron James, like all these historic Hall of Famers and great athletes, like their teams ultimately when they were renewing their contracts and whatever else, there's the back and forth and this, and they're trying to bring in a young player that they think could be a little bit better. But like the great ones obviously just consistently are like, nope, can't find it. You can't find it because they show it on they show it on an everyday basis. And I think that's what's really cool is even though the competition may be brought down a little bit in terms of priority, the ability to compete and be your best self every day and separate yourself as a high performer is there. And so I think that's what is really motivating about it and makes people like myself be open-minded to engaging and competing within that arena because I think for a lot of people, like off bat, they're like, how do you play an 88 game season and then like at the end of it, like there's no championship or there's no like you didn't win a Super Bowl or you didn't win the World Series or like
what
how
are you
did you just
for?
do that? Yeah, what are you playing for? And there's a lot to be said on that, but ultimately it's to separate yourself within that arena, and then ultimately the company's name is Fans First. It's for the fans, and so I think once you experience that, it would be hard to play a minor league season with no vision of being called up or a championship at the end of it in front of 50 people in the middle of nowhere that aren't that fired up at your stadium. But I mean, like we talked about earlier, you got World Series energy at every single game, and these are exhibition games that really, again, who wins? Obviously, we want to win, and then the other team wants to win. But beyond that, like no one's really riding or dying or betting on the games or just like this is, I need this win. But they're bringing that World Series energy and they're fired up to see the product every night and they're having a good time. And so I think that's fulfilling in itself and definitely gives you a lot of energy as a player to go out and compete your butt off every night and try to be the best you can be because, again, you feed off that energy. We're giving up 6 runs in an inning and you got 3 little girls, banana fans over there trying to play dance tag with you and having fun. It's like, man, like so things aren't going our way in my mind right now, but you're having the time of your life. Like I'm keep feeding into that. I want you to have the greatest time of your life so that one day, whatever that person pursues, maybe they say like, I can be that person in the arena that a lot of people feed off of.
Awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a huge thing. You're creating a fantastic atmosphere, competitive atmosphere, a fun atmosphere, and the priority is, hey, young kids look up to you and young families look up to you and they see that, you're not just a great baseball player, but you're a human being. They can interact with you. And I'll tell you this, it re-energizes baseball, which is I think is a good thing. I think that's a big deal. Just watching the MLB Network had on the history of baseball. I don't know if you ever seen it. It's a documentary, and it starts with it's a lot of the guys from like the 50s and 60s. Mickey Mantle and Willie Mays and guys like that. And you see how baseball was like everyone wanted to be a baseball player, and obviously the advent of football and how football became so popular, especially with TV and other sports like basketball, changed a lot of that. But when you see what you guys are doing, that's like re-energizing baseball in a different way, where people were like, Willie Mays, would come out in the streets in New York City and play stickball with the kids, like. Obviously, nowadays these guys are making so much money at the pro level that's not even feasible. But groups like your group, you're actually in there with the fans. The fans have access to you in a way that most other fans don't have in pro sports, which I think is just is fantastic and unique. So, what's your Twitter again? I want everybody to be able to go follow you. And
it's Michael Deeb 42. My
Michael
first and
Deeb.
last name. Yep. And
yeah.
Same with Instagram. Yep.
Oh, perfect. So
and TikTok as well, but I haven't. So last year they convinced me. I was from help with them. I have a profile on TikTok. I haven't logged into it or posted anything. But
maybe that's this year, man. Maybe listen.
I'm trying. The TikTok.
I know you just want to go out there and shag
It's the last little one for me, man.
Come on, man. You got it. If you get over that,
just
come on, dude. Let's
go. It's tough. It's tough.
Quick. Hey, are you still living in South Florida?
Yeah, so I spend my off seasons in South Florida, and then I'm in Savannah
gig,
for the season. Yeah, I'm actually.
Boy,
yep, and then and then I train and coach and work out of Barwis Performance Center in Deerfield Beach. So it's great because the mornings I train, and then by the afternoons and the middays I'm doing the lessons up until the teams at night, and it's just great to stay around the sport, stay in it, and really just be around sports. Like I think, like you said, that they're taking a different spin on it, but it's all sports. I think are entertainment and storytelling, and the NFL is doing a good job of, now they're literally changing camera angles to the end zone view, so you could see receivers doing their first down dance or whatever it is after they get a first down and make a big play. I think the MLB is going to shift a little bit by kind of what we're doing, because the content we put out, like you might only see the bat flip and the celebration around the bases. They might not even include the home run in the clip, where
Right.
you watch an MLB game and it's like you don't even see the bat flip. They're like, oh, and the pitcher didn't like that one, and like they already panned to the ball and they didn't even show the bat flip. Like, why aren't we showing these things? Especially when baseball, I think, has lost some interest because you fail at a higher rate than any other sport.
It's the reason you can, 3 for 10 gets you in the Hall of Fame, brother.
Right.
Like,
So
think about if you're a quarterback going freaking 10 for 30, bro, you ain't in the Hall of Fame,
Mm-hmm. And that's the one thing I love about it. It's like, if you earn a strikeout against me, do your dance, brother. Congratulations. Yeah. If I hit a home run, I'm flipping my bat. I'm doing my dance. I'm going to mess up 7 more times, even if I'm good. Like, why aren't we celebrating the successes and the wins? I think that brings enthusiasm to the game and the sport. And if you create an environment where you want to restrict that, then, you're going to get guys that want to go play basketball and then throw up their 3 after they hit the 3, or they're going to want to play football and they're going to want to be in the end zone doing a full team dance after their defense gets a pick 6.
Yeah, it's wild.
They're like, that's the stories that those organizations are putting out for the televised viewer. And so, like, why not shift that in baseball? I think ultimately it's not something. Banana Ball is not going to compete with the MLB for like one or the other, but it's definitely something that I think the MLB can look around and be like, we should create this culture and allow it and embrace it. And people shouldn't be so soft.
If you think about it, right? Like in the major leagues, right? Like, let's say a guy hits a home run. When he gets to home plate, most of his teammates are out there anyway. Who's to say now they get to home plate, they can't choreograph a dance, right? If you did that in Major League Baseball today, where your entire team celebrated a home run with a team dance, that next guy, old school baseball, that ball's coming right in his throat.
Right.
The ball's coming, right? But
and why?
And why? Exactly.
Right? Like, where is it now that pitcher says to himself, all right, well, shit, he got one on me now. But like this next time he gets up, when I strike him out, right? Like, why can't our whole infield come together, and rather than just throwing it around the horn, let's do something, right? Like,
yeah. No, it's
you never know.
The Dominican Winter League is a phenomenal baseball entertaining experience. I think there's so much passion and just like energy in the way they play that Winter League, the way it's played down there. Like, why not bring that style of play to the US, and why not, like, why are we getting offended by failure? Like, just
the old
better.
heads, bro. It's the old heads.
The best way, if you don't like somebody celebrating off hitting a home run off you, don't give up the home run. If you don't like a pitcher celebrating a strikeout, then don't strike out.
Classic University of Miami Hurricanes, right? If you don't want us dancing in the end zone, then don't let us score.
That's right. No doubt about it. What is I want to let you go. I have a quick question. So for a young baseball player, because you work with young kids,
here it goes. Coach's son is 8 years old and just finished up some all-star baseball stuff.
Yeah.
So here we go. I knew it was coming.
You knew it was coming.
I knew it was coming.
So what should a young guy be working on, like in the off season, like skill set wise, like hitting off a tee, getting a K? What are some of the things they should be working on?
Honestly, a lot of wall ball. So like, you can do whatever drills you want and all that stuff, but ultimately a moving ball through space is the way the game is going to be played. So the tee is a great tool for, just warming up, getting yourself going a little bit. But to me, I don't think you're getting any better hitting 500 swings off a tee, unless, ultimately you're trying to play golf. But I think, like, being adjustable in space, because like, you're going to be moving as a hitter to try to load yourself into a strong position at the point of contact when the ball that's moving at you is coming. So being able to to control your body weight, and have balance, and really your hand-eye coordination. So I think, like, I mean, and especially in today's day and age, a lot of people don't want to hear it, but like off season from baseball, like go learn how to box, or go like do martial arts, MMA. The biggest thing kids, I think, have trouble with is leverage, and hitting is all ground force. You have to be able to have 2 feet in the ground and be in a strong position on contact. And because of puberty and your body growing and all that stuff, that's the hardest thing to conceptually understand as a child. But as soon as you're in physical combat with another human being, or just in practice in a safe environment doing it, like as soon as you want to go to a takedown, or as soon as you want to try to gain leverage over the other person, you're going to feel both feet get into the ground, and you're going to have to find yourself into a strong position to outbase them, basically. And so if you're not tackling people or playing football or other sports like that, I think it's okay. Well, so it's the greatest thing, in a way that, and the same thing with a lot of like the hand-eye coordination from boxing. It's like, you don't want kids to throw 12 months a year and hurt their arm. Well,
right.
I mean, but velocity is going to be improved if your hands can move quicker and you can throw your arms quicker. So, boxing is another, even if it's not necessarily getting in a ring and getting hit in the head by
it's just
another person, but the workout itself, speed bag, throwing hands into a punching bag. I promise, if you can't throw your hands into a heavy bag without it hurting, unless you're in a strong position and you have your base behind you, then you're going to thump that thing. Well, then that's going to tell your brain, like, oh, imagine if I do this same thing when the bat's in my hands, or when I'm trying to stack myself behind myself when I'm getting down a mound to throw my hardest fastball. I think that's the best thing to kind of expose kids to. And then ultimately just like find a wall and a tennis ball or a lacrosse ball or whatever, and just keep throwing it off that wall. Keep trying to figure out how to pick your hops, try to go between the legs, try to go around the bat. Even if you're playing normal baseball and you're never having any endeavor towards banana ball, like if you can have that body control, body awareness of your limbs moving around you and the way you're rotating through space, I think it only is going to increase your baseball ability. And, it's not because of lack of ability that the guys in banana ball haven't made it to the big leagues. It might just be that consistency in power numbers, or maybe, just the guy at 20 years old in the minor leagues was throwing 98 to 100, and then he, had some injuries, and now he's throwing 92 to 94, and ultimately that's not going to get. They're not looking for that anymore. So
right.
It doesn't mean that the guy can't throw a good 3 or 4 pitch mix up his times to home plate, mix up his leg. Like he's still showing elite body control, elite hand-eye coordination, and all those different things. So again, like I think like a lot of kids will spend, especially young kids, it's like you're spending your time trying to increase your velocity or do things to like train that in the off season. Like that's eyewash to me. Like go play another sport or do something else that's going to allow you to problem solve. Because that's what it did for me, and that's
phenomenal.
There is like baseball, you do need skill development. Like there is going to be a good chunk of the year where you should be doing the actual baseball actions to just get that base level skill. But like spending hours and countless dollars on all these different drills or gadgets before you've even finished puberty, like what's the point? Like as soon as you turn into a junior in high school and hit that growth spurt or whatever it is, your body's going to have to relearn all that anyway. So all those different, this trainer, that trainer, I mean, it's phenomenal marketing. It's great business for people that sell that stuff and do it. But I think there's nothing better than trying to problem solve in a different arena and figure it out.
That is some great points. I wrote down a bunch of things. I thought it was amazing. I mean, number one, obviously playing as many sports as you can when you're young. First of all, it's fun. Like to me, like number one, like that was the best thing. Like moving from season to season, right? Like I'm playing football here, I'm playing basketball or wrestling in the winter, and then I'm playing baseball or running track, whatever you're doing, like that was just fun because you're around different kids sometimes, like you have your core group of friends maybe that go to this from sport to sport, but you might be around totally different kids each season, and you learn from those people, different coaches, different types of movement, which is I think is the biggest thing, and you see it over and over again. And great athletes like yourself and smart coaches say it over and over again. You see it, college coaches always say, like, we love guys that are multi-sport athletes because it teaches you how to like
compete.
Move. It teaches you how to move. It teaches you how to adapt to a different philosophy, a different strategy. Like baseball strategy is different from football strategies, different from basketball strategy. Like that's just different thing. And your mind's constantly thinking, oh, wow, okay, football, we had to think like this, right? And I need to be able to think about this. And now in basketball, I got to be a little bit more fast-paced and think about this. Well, baseball, I got to be a little bit more strategic. Like, when am I taking the next base? Like, what kind of pitch am I looking for? What what's the score? Who's on base? Like, you're thinking about different things in each sport, and it all comes together. And I think what your point about puberty is great because most people don't ever say this. I think because of, you're right about the money in sports and like, development, like youth development is a big thing. But people forget that when you hit puberty,
it all changes.
You have to relearn how your body moves because you might have been able to do certain things before puberty, and then now you can't do some of those things when you hit puberty. You have to learn it in a different way. Or maybe you couldn't do anything before puberty, and all of a sudden you hit puberty. Genetically, you're a monster. You're an athlete. Like, and it's like, and I think parents today totally undervalue. I always say this all the time. It's like, yeah, it's great. It's like, but like when puberty hits, like, dad over there who's, like you're only going to go so far. If mom and dad are both 5 foot each, you might be good now, but like when you hit puberty, that kid who's not moving as well, all of a sudden his father's like 6'5" or something. He's going to be big. And those are things that I think people have to, you want to learn the skills, but you also want to keep it in perspective. Have fun, enjoy the sports. Yes, no one's saying don't go get training and those kind of things, but enjoy moving from one sport to the next, like, and being able to engross yourself in that new sport and everything that's about. And then when that ends, wow, okay, great. Let's go play this sport, And I mean, that's the thing I miss most, and probably even you do, right? Like about being a kid. Like, man, I could go out and play this sport, this season, and the next season I could play a whole new sport. Like, that was my favorite thing, It's
100%.
And when you get older and you get specialized,
you don't listen. You can only play football as much. For so long. You can only play football. Look, you can go join a men's basketball league or a softball league or a hard or a wood bat league. Like, there's other things for that. Football and stuff is very different when you only have a certain number of years to really play it. Unless you're you want to talk about being in the 3% that actually go to college and play football. Like, it's a different world. You know what I mean? And baseball is even tougher. Now you got to fight through all these levels of stuff. Like, go have fun, go compete, go play with your buddies or whatever, or team, just a team setting, go compete, right? Like, I don't care what you do, compete. Find something that's a little off caliber, or just do whatever you like to do when you're young, man, because it's not around forever, You got
to settle an argument for me that I have with some of my buddies, right?
I love it, bro.
And it's called the toughest skill to become great at. And we always come down to these two skills:
round ball, round bat.
Hitting a baseball, right? In particular, probably hitting a curve or some sort of movement pitch, right?
Yeah.
Versus being great at golf, right? Because a stable ball that you got to hit perfectly versus a moving ball that you got to try.
100-mile-an-hour ball.
Which one do you think is the most difficult skill to learn? I'm curious. What do you think?
In my personal endeavors, it's been golf, just because I'm terrible and can't hit a ball straight. I can get a lot of
Listen, bro, it's also hard to do that when you're, you're trying traps.
I can swing. The issue is well, one, I've never actually been coached up on it, but the ball just does not stay straight for me. But to be honest with you, I think it's 1000% still baseball, because there's still something after the act of hitting the ball and trying to be accurate with it. You need more athleticism and skill to complete the next task.
Yeah.
If you
Still
can't
gotta
run to first, or
Right.
if you can't run fast enough to hit that double, there's definitely a lot more that goes into it beyond like the process of now you've made the hit. There's something else. Where
Right.
in golf, I mean,
Golf, all
and
you're doing
not
is
that
turning around and high-fiving your buddy like, yeah, dude, I
right.
got it.
Let's walk up to the ball and hit it again. But
Yeah.
like, I think especially, I think it could take a skilled golfer, but a terrible athlete, and you can still survive. Like, I think even the guys that are out of shape in baseball in the major leagues, that they say, well, they don't look like they're athletes or in shape or this. I guarantee if you take them onto a pickleball court or a basketball gym or a tennis court, they'll still have minimal base skills in that arena and look decent, where, in other sports, it doesn't really develop that. And that was like football was my last sport. I didn't play tackle football until high school. If it wasn't for Sony Michel, Isaiah McKenzie, for the phenomenal team that we had, Mike Smith, in the way that he taught me, I mean, I would have never been any good at football. But because I played multiple sports, I kind of had a decent concept of moving my big body through space, and I wasn't afraid of physicality.
Yeah, we know that, brother.
I was able to get better and be a solid player. But beyond that, it's definitely like you guys are saying. I mean, play multiple sports, learn how to be a competitive savage in all arenas, and then the rest will take care of itself. And then, if you're looking at that junior or that sophomore in high school, that you're like, okay, this is kind of going to be his passion, this is going to be his sport. Okay, then maybe, put in some resources towards, that higher level training or whatever else it is.
Exactly
But
what
like,
you did. Once you saw football was going to be your track, hey, Mike, I need to work out, right? Like, let's go work.
I was like, Mike, I was like, I haven't done this. I was like, I got the basics, but I was like, I need to get better at this. Please help me.
Yeah.
But beyond that, why, like, pitching, kids are getting pitching lessons at like 8 years old.
Crazy.
Why? Like, what are you doing? Like, I mean, I get the concept of it and the business behind it and everything else, but like, you're not even throwing 60 feet yet. The baseball is played on a 60-foot, 90-foot or 60-foot pitching mound and 90-foot bases. So like, what are you preparing for? You're practicing just like, I don't know. There was a lot of, and I'm grateful my parents had that mentality and pushed me in that. It's the reason why
your father was great, bro.
He's the best, because he was great, like, dude. I don't care what you do. He's like, just be the best you possibly can be at it and work your butt off. And he's like, and if you don't want to work your butt off in sports, that's fine. You need to start taking harder classes in school and get a job. So I was like,
I bet you his golf game's okay.
To be honest, he's a pickleball, racquetball. He actually doesn't do golf. He's still got it in his mind that, like, right now he still wants to go toe to toe and square up. He's like,
oh, dude, that's him though. That's him.
Yeah, that's I am his son, and I am of the same way. But it definitely, when we get together, it makes fun for all the
he's
roasting
winning,
and
bro.
everything.
It don't matter what sport you're playing, dude. He's gonna win.
Yeah, he's ready to go. It don't matter, ping pong, this, that, anything. He's going at it, and he's going at it for his life.
That's funny. That's
awesome,
great.
man.
Well, it's been great having you on. Really,
thanks, bro.
Absolute pleasure.
Yeah, of course. Thank you guys so much.
Listen,
I really appreciate it. It's been fun. So
appreciate it. Thank you.
We'll
see you soon. Visit him at Michael Deeb, 42, DEEB, right? 42.
Yes, sir.
And check in with him, send him a hello, and go watch his games. Savannah Bananas.
Hey man, keep doing what you're doing with the youth too, bro, because that's so important, right? Like, to have guys like you, bro, that just do it the right way, you know what I mean? And just kind of, like, hey, here's my process, and look at what I've gone through, and look at me now. And listen, man, it's really nice to see, younger guys like you kind of like, instilling that in the kids. So please, man, keep doing that, man. I really appreciate it.
Communicate it to the parents, which is an important thing, right?
Huge, man.
You know how baseball parents are. Like, they get so wrapped up in it, and say, hey, look, there's nothing wrong with going playing football or soccer or basketball, like let him enjoy his life. I understand you want him to be good at baseball, but like let him go and do other things. It's an important thing. And we see it all the time, and you see it and you're able to communicate it. That's a great thing.
No, thank you guys. I really appreciate it. It's been fun.
Hey,
and
man.
No, it's the same thing. You're doing the same thing, giving back to the games that you love, and I'm just going to try to keep doing the same. And ultimately, that's kind of all of our goals. Just pass it on to the generation under us and make them better than we were and that we could ever be. So
Awesome,
we'll keep it pushing, keep it moving, and God bless you guys. Have a great day.
Man, enjoy that
we'll
South Florida
soon.
weather. It's about 30 degrees up here in Jersey. So, you know what I mean? Like, appreciate it, buddy. Thanks a lot.
Yep. Thanks. Stay warm.
We'll see you soon.
Stay warm. Later. Awesome. Good kid, man.
That was great. That was great. That was a fun podcast. I actually wrote down a bunch of notes and learned a bunch of things too. So,
well, listen, he's like I said, I know he's also, like I said, for as much as the Savannah Bananas and all that kind of stuff is what it is, like my man is a competitor and he is a purist when it comes to the game itself, right? So, just that, like all that entertainment marketing stuff, but he's still out there going to be doing BP, taking his swing, doing all that stuff. Like he is an attention to detail type of human in every aspect that he goes about it. So he really it is what it is, but he keeps that baseball part of it as the top priority no matter what.
No doubt about it. I've watched a lot of the Savannah Bananas thing, so it's incredibly entertaining. I mean, business wise, it's
and business marketing. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, it is like a 101 of how to take a brand
and just
skyrocket it.
And think about the fact that now they're increasing like new teams, new all that stuff. Like
they
I mean, think about it, man. Like 80-something games
for like
80-something games. It's a lot of games.
What did he pay for it?
What did he pay for, like a ticket?
No, what did he pay for the team? I think it
was to like buy the franchise.
Yeah, like him and his wife bought it. And Jesse.
The question is, what did he do before?
Well, I can't remember. I saw something. I can't believe I forgot it now. He got it for very. Like it was a dying. That's
what I'm saying. It was probably like a failing business.
Yes, it was a failing
saved it and was like, "Hey, if we want to survive, we got to change it." And I just love the fact that he talks about. He's like, "Yeah, I gotta get my marketing up a little bit, because he's just that."
Yeah. Even though his Twitter is good. I mean, his Twitter.
Yeah, but I'm saying he's such an under the radar guy. He just wants, he's like a lunch pail guy, right? Like I just go to work, I do my thing, and I come back. So for him, when I heard that he was doing this, I'm like, wow, that's really not like that's out of his comfort zone, I mean, I love the fact that he still coaches youth ball in South Florida. Like he's still so involved. I know he goes back to Heritage and all that kind of stuff and touches base with some of those guys, So it's like, it's really awesome just to see guys like that are really kind of preaching the message that we want to preach in terms of youth, right? Like, wait, you have an 8-year-old and only doing baseball? Go play other sports. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, go do that stuff. And listen, you want to talk about a guy that played at the highest of the high. I mean, he played linebacker at Notre Dame. Right? We're talking power, like big time. And then stuff happens. Okay, I'm going to go do this. Right. And then get drafted in major league. Not many people can say that no matter what, and then just to continue to be humble and kind of just go about how it is. I think that's just phenomenal.
He, let's see, it's hard to find. I guess maybe because it's a private company, they probably don't.
Yeah, they can still kind of limit what they're doing.
But they had 500,000 fans.
I mean, if you think about it too, the places that they're going to be going and touring and doing all that stuff, like,
yeah, and their tour
going to be sold out no matter what.
They must play like a, I don't know, 10,000 seat stadium or something like that.
Well, I mean, I'm sure they have to have
maybe a certain less, but that they're filled every time, like
easily. It's awesome.
How many seats does this Savannah Banana Stadium have?
Oh, like their home stadium.
Yeah, I'm sure. Okay, 4,000. All right, so their home stadium. So they're probably playing in like stadiums like that, 4,000, 5,000. They did 500,
give or take, whatever. The smaller minor league baseball stadiums,
But they have
like for us, they could go play at the Lakewood Blue Claw Stadium, right? Like that's a minor league team that's down here, or up north, whatever they used to have. I think it's the Sussex Miners or something, or Somerset Patriots, right? When you're driving on 287 down there, like you see that stadium on the right hand side if you're going to Rutgers, like they're probably playing in places like that.
Incredible.
And listen, if you wanted to talk actual baseball, like
the games have a 2-hour limit.
That's another thing that's appealing. Like, we're not going to a baseball game and sitting here for 4 hours.
No new inning may start after an hour and 50 minutes have elapsed.
Yeah, it's over. Done. We're out.
You finished that inning, right? And so that
finished the inning. We're out. Good job. Thank you. Appreciate it.
That's really. It's brilliant.
It's a great marketing strategy, brother.
It is. It keeps it.
Keeps it fresh.
It keeps it fresh. Keeps it entertaining. So anyway, I'll let you go. Yeah, I know. I just think about like Little League. Like during the week, they keep the games under. You're not allowed to have a game over 2 hours, right? But if it's on the weekend, there's no like time constraints. Right. I remember one time we were in a game, and I'm like, "Is this game ever gonna people were scoring 1 million runs?"
Yeah, you're like, "What the hell?"
I'm like, "We're gonna be here all." Well, that's my Saturday afternoon.
All right, bro.
All right, great job, and we'll go from there. All
awesome.
Right.